Hello everybody and welcome back. It's been a while since I made a video. Ever since the track closed, it's been kind of down. I haven't had a whole lot to do until today. Something showed up. It's my D2 Evo 3 two-wheel drive buggy. I've been waiting on this thing for years. So I'm going to I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to get it here. Chad Phillips at Absolute Hobbies was kind enough to send me one of these. I'm going to do a build series on it and some testing and stuff. So I'm going to bring it straight to you. So today I'm going to do this unboxing and then we'll get into it. So today's knife is a Remington 1123 bullet knife. This is very sought after trapper knife, a large scale from Remington, made around 1930 or so. This thing is very valuable. It's used, but it's in incredible shape. I love this knife. It's one of my favorites. So I figured I'd use it to unbox this thing. It's used, so I can still use it. Although I'll be a little easy with it. Let's see here. A little bitty box, but it's a little bitty car, so makes sense. Wow, a lot of tape. Alright, so here we are. HB Racing D2 Evo. This thing's I've been waiting on this for a while. Hadn't had a two-wheel drive buggy in a long time. I miss it. I've been excited about it. It's been a long time coming. So they even got the HB Heatwave on the box. I noticed that Justin Hughlin was talking about that. That's pretty cool. So let's get this thing opened up. I'm gonna switch this camera to the GoPro, give you a POV view. We'll get inside the box and see what we got. Okay, so here we go. This is a new HB Racing D2 Evo two-wheel drive buggy. I've been waiting for this a while, so we got our Remington incredible trapper knife. We'll crack it open for the first time and let's check out what's inside. Like I say, this, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but this kit doesn't come with a body or a wing. They do that to cut down the package size, which is, don't really care for that, but it is what it is. That's not all I can do for it. We'll go ahead and open it's not a super sharp knife. It's not really a user though, so it's used, but don't need to be messing it up. Okay, so there's our manual, our sticker sheet. Pretty standard stuff from HB Racing. We'll set those aside for now. Comes with some shock oils. Let's see what they got. 1,000 weight. Looks like 500. I usually don't use those. I usually throw those away. Got a couple of tools. All the standard things. Now here's the gear diff, which I found pretty interesting that it comes with a gear diff. Like a ball diff as well. I'm not sure how I'm gonna build it. I'm just gonna build the kit according to the stock kit. One thing I'm curious about is if it has servo horn, because I didn't order a servo horn. The D418 came with one. I was kind of hoping this did too. There's the chassis. Pretty cool. Let's see here. Guess I'm gonna have to search through and see if it comes with the servo horn or not. That's the D bag. Anyway, let's got the rubber bands to strap the battery down with. Okay, so I guess what I'm going to do, I've only got a few minutes in this, so I guess I'll just include this with my first step of the build. I'm going to go ahead and get the manual out, see what the first step is, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. We're going to break into the manual for the first time and see what we got. And we'll just start putting this thing together and see where we end up. This is just telling you the things you need, some of the tools you'll need. That's the diff oil, the 1000 diff oil, and the silicone, the shock oil is 500. I might just put it together with that for now and see what we end up with. I don't know if it's got any settings on. Let's see what we got. 40 weight and 50 weight shock oil, so I'll use that. Probably a good starting point. There's nothing in here about the, see where it says anything about the diff oil. So looking at it, it's got the gear diff and separate slipper clutch. Doesn't seem to come with a ball diff like I once thought. So let's see. We're just gonna go ahead and build it by the book, and we'll make adjustments as we go. I'll start making videos about that too. So looks like typical HB fashion. We start with the shock build. So let's get us a towel here and go ahead and get bag A out. There we go, bag A. Got bags in bags. So got step. Now this says check out hbracing.com for the latest updates. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and build it like I normally would. Let's go ahead and start with the A01. I assume that's going to be the fronts. Tell you, I didn't pick a good knife for cutting. It's a really cool knife, but it's not. I'll probably quit using it so I don't mess it up. It's a nice one. So we'll be using our X-Acto. Okay, so this appears to be the front 75 springs. Looks like it comes with the collars already. Man, these are some tiny shocks. And you used to mess with 8 scale. They look tiny for sure. Let's see what we're working with here. This is all new to me, so haven't built an HB 2-wheel drive buggy ever. And this is a brand new buggy, so we're just gonna do it by the book, and we'll do a bunch of testing and set up stuff as we go along, and we'll get the car learned and dialed in, and I'll be there for all those steps with you. Might be easier with scissors. Still not set up 100% from the moving back to the house. I've got J Concepts parts on the way, tires and body, and a couple other things. Wow, nothing's cutting tonight. All right, so I guess we got to decide on pistons. Let's go back to the setup sheet. So the front is calling for 1.6 by 2. All right, so let's dig these out. Put the other side. That's definitely not a 2. Let's get all the 2s out of the way. It's got some you can drill yourself. There's some 4-hole, some 2-hole. There's 4 total 2-holes, so that's a 1.7. 1.6. So we got a 1.6 there. 1.6 there. Okay, so we're going to slide those all off the scale. So, all right, so let's go back to our page here. Okay, so let's build the shock bodies first. Looks like we can go ahead and put the pistons on. So take our little shock shaft, check it out real good. I'm going to touch those this time. Normally I'll polish them for the 8 scale. For this build I'm just going to put it together and see how it goes. Okay, I'll probably, this has a little taper on it. Looks like the taper is intended to go down. Okay, so let's talk about some tiny parts. I hope I've even got a nut driver that size. That's tiny. I have to use a wrench. Like any of them I do, I don't torque it down. I just give it a little, make sure it still moves in there. Don't crank it down on there. Don't want to get it all distorted. And I'm putting the taper down, which would be the labeled number side up. There we go. All right, so I like to use some, gonna need some O-ring grease. I'm gonna use my Protec O-ring grease. I will go ahead and put the shock through like the same way I do it on the 8 scale. Okay, so we're gonna go O-ring, spacer, O-ring, whatever you call that. Okay, so I'll put a little grease on each O-ring. Coat it really good. Okay, and I'll take and put an O-ring on, spacer on, and an O-ring on. At this point, I'll go ahead and put a little more grease on it. Make sure it gets a good seal in there. Then, gotta determine how these go on. Okay, the big side will go down. Slide it up in there. Then I'll do the same with the other shock. Alright, so now, pretty sure we're going to get this O-ring here. So I'll put a little grease on these. Not a whole lot, just don't put them on dry. Then we'll thread our piece on here. Make sure it's free. Snug it down. Then repeat this process. Looks like it comes with O-rings for emulsion. No bladders, I see. Interesting. Okay, we've got O-ring that's got to go in the collar. I would imagine that's the bigger one. The same thing, I'll put a little grease on it. Try to get that gasket in there, right? I thread about halfway for a starting point. Probably use a little electric grease. Get it started good. All right, so let's see if I've got some 50 weight. Weight. All right. All right, so we'll put some in there and work it up and down. Work any air bubbles out of it. Then we're gonna let it sit for a little while. All right, so we'll let those simmer a minute. We'll go ahead and start breaking out the rear. Try to slide these. I think what I'll do is I'll start me a whole new towel here. All right, let's open this one up. Looks like it's just going to be the same process, just different size. So we're not going to open that package up. This should be our 1.7s, which is what the rear is called for. Okay. I haven't opened those yet. All right, so we got the same process here. Go ahead and assemble the pistons. Go ahead and snug these down. Gotta use my wrench because it's a tiny little thing. I've got a nut driver this size somewhere. Not sure what I did with it. Like I say, everything's still kind of jumbled up from the move here, so I'm not up to speed 100% yet. Okay, so there's that. Let's build these bodies again. Okay, so we'll stick the piston in the body. Go O-ring, spacer, O-ring, and we grease it pretty good. Put our other plastic piece on, push the O-rings down in. Repeat the process. Oh, I almost forgot my silicone. Alright, so now I got the oil on my fingers. I'm gonna go ahead and oil up these O-rings. Put our cap on. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I put the O-ring on. Or did I? Yeah, the O-ring's there. Okay, snug it down. Put our other O-ring on. So far, this part of the build is very simple, very straightforward and smooth. Okay, so let's get a little grease on these. O-ring in the collar first. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to thread it about halfway for now. All right, so now we need some 40 weight oil. I'm gonna double check that. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that right. Yep, 40 weight oil in the rear. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna fill it up, pump it, and let them sit. We'll go ahead and start bleeding the fronts. I got a little too much in there. So funny, everything seems so small after working with 8 scale for so long. Been a while since I've done a 10 scale buggy build. There's something not right about that. Well, I believe I put my plastic piece in upside down. I did. There's my first mistake. That had the O-rings kind of in a bind. All right, let's try this again. Oh, much smoother. Obviously. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we can go ahead and pop these in. Remember, always put the bushing, there's a shiny end on these, a shiny side. Always push these ends, shock ends, balls and stuff in from the shiny side. Okay, we'll go put a little grease on the O-rings here. Let's slide. These are rears, I gotta remember that. Okay, we'll get our cap. Let's see here. Take a screwdriver and make sure this O-ring's seated in there right. I can see now I'm probably going to want to keep a couple of these O-rings on hand because I can see where you can screw these up if you're not careful. Okay, I'm going to bleed these the same way I do the 8 scale. Let me put this on here. Just gonna top it off and fill it up. It's almost full now. Let's see how it looks. Okay. Same way I did my Deep 418 too, pretty much. So I'll go ahead and screw my cap on. Okay, I'll just set it aside for now. Okay, so I like to go ahead and get my screw prepped and ready. Well, this one's a tiny one. It's a 1.5 millimeter, looks like. So I'll go ahead and bring the piston up till the fluid comes out and then wipe it off. Put the screw in there. Oh, that's actually a little loose. The 8 scale is the same way. Seems like a 1/16 actually fits it a little better. So do that and then pump it about 20 times. Then I'll hold it down, take the screw back out, bring it up to the top one time. It should push aerated fluid out. Okay, so now you should have pretty much dead shock. There we go. I'm gonna repeat that. Looks like I didn't get enough fluid in it. Let's back that off. Yeah, I didn't quite get enough oil in there. I like to have it right at the top, almost overflowing. So now we'll see if we can get some fluid to come in. There we go. So I'll hold the piston down. If the piston wants to, if the shaft wants to climb up, I hold it down with my fingers. Make sure it stays fully extended when you pull this screw out. And pump the aerated fluid out. Oh boy. There we go, dead shock. So now we get to repeat this on the rear. Let's get our prep our O-rings, our caps first. Yeah, I think it's pretty important that you make sure this O-ring is seated in there correctly, because you can jack these up pretty easy. Okay, so we'll get our 40 weight in the rear. Fill it all the way to the top this time. Get our caps on. Go and get our screw ready. Go ahead and push the piston to the top, put your fluid out just like we did on the front. Give it 20 pumps. Crack it open, push out aerated fluid. There you have it, dead shock. Now these shocks are going to be covered in oil, so I like to spray them off with Simple Green and blow them off real quick once I get through building them before I put all the other parts on. Actually, you could put all the other pieces on and do it later, I guess. That's probably what I'll do. Alright, so there's our shocks built. Let's go ahead and put the rest of the parts on them. Call that part done, and we'll get on to the next step. Okay, so our fronts, let's wipe them off the best we can. I'll come back later and Simple Green them, get all that oil off of them. Okay, so we can go ahead and put the fronts, get the non-flanged end on it. So it looks like there's 2 marks on there for shock length. It doesn't really tell you much about that. So for now, we're just gonna run it up to where because looking at the picture, you can see the 2 lines on there. Uh-oh. These things don't want to start sometimes. A good way to fix that is find a reaming tool. Of course, I don't know where mine is. Okay, there we go. Okay, so if these things, sometimes they're flat on the end, don't want to start, take a reaming tool and just put a chamfered edge on it. And it should start easier. Of course, I gotta hold it. There we go. Let's go where it covers the threads. That's kind of what it looks like in the picture. I'll explore that later. And then we go spring cup. There. One shock down. We'll put the bushing in it. This same bushing they always use. Same thing using an 8 scale. So there's that. Let's get the other one. Now this smaller, a little tricky to get started straight. Just take your time. And I'll arrange these and situate the position of these later. This is just get a good start. I thought they were a little different, but it's because I had a different size hole there. Kind of freaked me out for a second. Okay, on to the rear. Now the rear has a different ball end on it, one with a flange on it. I guess it goes up against the arm. So what I'll do is make sure you push it in from the shiny side. Put the ball end in first. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna ream it out just a touch. Right, so we got one rear done. All right, there we go. There's our shocks. All right, well, that's it for the shocks. We'll get on to the next step and we'll make another video of that, and we'll see you next time. Okay, there you have it. There's the shock build. We're going to get on to, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to go to the next step, which is the differential. So stay tuned for that one, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We'll see you.